Hello, everybody. What's going on? My name is Joey J. Ping here with RespectMyRegion.com. Welcome to another episode of the Grow and Tell podcast, brought to you guys by King Solomon Nutrients, our premier partner for all things advanced crop nutrition, plant nutrition, cannabis nutrition. This is our partner. This is our guy. He's one of my mentors to help me understand how quality cannabis truly comes around. But this episode isn't about Damien. It's not about King Solomon Nutrients. It's about Fohse and Green Horizons, a new partnership. We have Los Arias here, Ben Arnet here. Los represents Green Horizons. Ben over there at Fohse. How are you guys doing today? Welcome. Good afternoon.
Welcome.
Yeah, doing well. Thanks for having us.
Thank you guys for joining, man. It's a pleasure to be working with you guys on the show. Guys, you guys got a partnership. We're going to break down the nitty-gritty of that today. Fohse with the lighting and the technology, Green Horizon with the 1 million square foot of, this whole operation out there in the Coachella Valley, 100,000 built out. There's a lot to work with, so we're going to break that down. But fellas, talk to me. What are you guys excited about? What's going on with this whole partnership? Lay it on me. We'll start with you, Ben, because it takes lights to grow the flower, but it also takes a facility too. So, Ben, what are you guys doing with the facility? We'll switch to Los.
Yeah. So Los and I got connected, I think, almost about a year ago now. Yeah, because it was hot when it was about 120 when I went out there the first time to visit. So it had to be over a year now. Saw the first phase one, went in just, let's see if there's anything we can do to support technology-wise, engineering-wise, plant physiologist-wise. Obviously, we do more than just grow lights at Fohse. But Los was, very open to it, went through the whole grand plan of the 1 million square feet build out, some of the stuff they saw and some of the things they learned on the first one. And we just started talking and seeing how we could help each other and started implementing some stuff and ideas like, the auto dimming greenhouse lights that Fohse has. We're implementing some new spectrum changing or spectrum tuning greenhouse fixtures, under canopy lights with tunable spectrums, UV, and we just saw it as a huge opportunity to take, high-tech greenhouse, high-tech lighting, and find ways to combine it into phase two where we can actually drive some more efficiencies out of the greenhouse, the technology via LEDs, and even some other new partnerships we've both been working on, where we can actually go in and tune the harmonics of the power going into the building, so we can actually save power to get to phase 3 and 4 faster, while still, increasing yields, terpenes, cannabinoids, providing better medicine to the end users, while still making sure that the cannabis cultivators in California are profitable and keep the industry rolling.
Ben, you just ran through that. Like Ben Arnet, Fohse HI, spitting out the craziest answer. Okay, so let me unpack that. So that way my 101 cultivation level brain can understand. So
Joey, can I get a joint first? Can I join you in this?
Of course, here. Take a hit, because that was a lot to take in. Here, take a hit.
Dude, I'm inhaling Ben's wisdom here first.
Holy cow. Okay, so let me get this straight.
Hey,
so you don't just have lights. There's this whole consulting phase, technology, this helping brands grow element of your company, right? Helping customers build out their grows in their facilities, improve efficiencies and things like that. So there's this whole aspect of that to your company, correct?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so far. So I read this. It says master service agreement. So you guys have an agreement, this partnership's taken. You guys are going to be doing what you do for everybody else, right? But now in a true partnership form with Green Horizon. You said you use these words, tuning.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that word because I come from Seattle. There's a strong underground racing culture there of all these tuner cars, right? And so I think, man, what is he doing under the hood of that building then? What is he fine tuning? Okay, so Los, you reach out or you guys get connected. You guys talk. You're like, man, I got the super plan, the super building. We got all this stuff we're working on. You got the cool company investor guy, the partner, right? All this cool stuff working in your direction. Los, talk to me. What were you hoping? What were you looking for back then? And how did you come across Fohse and what they bring to the table?
Oh, great question, brother. And thank you so much for having us on. Been a big fan of your show for a long time.
Thank
you, really appreciate how you guys accentuate the culture and support it in such an authentic way. So just a big thank you. And it's an honor to be here with both you and Ben.
My pleasure, brother.
Brother Aho. I mean, brother, for me, it's an exercise in humility. My partner and I had a vision on this going back almost a decade, and we built this with partners like Fohse in mind,
Hmm.
right? We had a dream, we had a vision. Our obsession was to build something that was worthy of a partnership like this. And to Ben's point, and I think you did a great job of summarizing that. Fohse is a lot more than just a lighting company,
Yep.
man. When Ben showed up with the team, there's a partnership vibe from the minute they say hello. They started immediately just, hey man, how about this? How about that? Have you considered this? That just really just getting right to it, and that meant a lot to me. It immediately felt like a conversation that was rooted in genuinely seeing us succeed,
Hmm.
and tapping into the expertise that they've garnered over so many years of being in the sector, right? So, for us, man, it was a real dream come true. Ben and his team are, ultra responsive. They are absolutely just on top of everything. And they've helped us not only on lighting design, nutrition, other aspects.
The electricity he was mentioning when that blew my mind. You
Dude,
said, Ben, you said to maybe potentially changing the electricity and the currents so that way you're not having to like use more than you need for the overall longevity of the plan. What?
Yeah, and there's similar stuff that this technology does too. And a lot of facilities all over the country are running into dirty power or surges, and you put in a certain piece of equipment, lighting, HVAC, fans, controls, whatever, irrigation,
Hmm.
and you have it at 277, but you start getting surges of 400, 500. We've even seen some people get surges up to like 600 volts, which are like, what is actually
Wow.
happening here? So then you're frying equipment out. And it's just an opportunity to go in and be proactive in ensuring that not only our equipment is going to last if there is bad power, but it also at the same time everyone else's equipment, the HVAC, everything's going to run a lot smoother, a lot easier. Longevity on every piece of equipment in the grow goes up, and you're going to actually end up saving quite a bit on the overall power bill,
Yeah.
assuming we can get the all the technologies to work appropriately. But it's just been something we always try to do here at Fohse is, kind of push the limits of what we can provide, always trying to use the best diodes, always R&Ding. And again, it's just how we provide value to the cultivators. If they don't succeed, we don't succeed. The lights last quite a while. So, we don't usually get other orders unless they're expanding.
Hmm.
So it's just good to see, again, especially in California too, the market grow and again, just provide as much value and support as we can.
Los Coachella Valley.
yeah.
Million square feet. That to me, I'm thinking Costco's and Amazon distribution buildings, right? Is that some kind of a comparison for like a scale to visualize?
Yes.
Wow. Holy shit balls. Let's go. That's a lot of weed, guys. Coachella Valley back on the map. Now here's my question to you. You mentioned bulk and wholesaling and kind of that kind of realm and whatnot.
Yeah.
Now, we're not growing weed. From my understanding, is cultivators don't grow weed to grow mids. They don't grow weed to have low quality. They grow weed to have high quality. And we're talking Fohse here, Los. We're talking arguably, depending on who you ask, number 1, 2, or 3 for lighting companies all time in cannabis. It just depends on who you ask at the end of the day, right?
That's right.
And so, what are you really hoping to achieve with Fohse as the partners from the business standpoint? Because I know they're going to shoot for the quality, right? We know we're going to aim for the quality of the flower, right? Genetics, all the quality of the flower side of things is going to be good. But from your business side of standpoint and your role in the company, what is your vision, and how does this fit into that vision?
It's such a great question and a thoughtful one. Enterprise value. I'm a co-founder of the company, and I'm also the CEO. My job ultimately, in addition, to providing ultra clean medicine for consumers and being part of the culture in a healthy way, which I personally love and live by. I'm a huge advocate personally of plant medicine and have been for many years, cannabis and beyond. Is ultimately I need to drive value for the company and shareholders and the sector, fam. And Fohse, in addition to being as good as they are at what they do, they're also particularly great at creating enterprise value from marketing, capturing content, having connectivity to the culture in a way
Yeah,
that's received right. That's not easy to do. How
very,
many of
very true.
fam, how many of these big ticket, and I won't say any names, but we all know who they are, the big corporate type, they came in 4 or 5 years ago, they're going to take over the industry and, do it.
You're talking about like the General Electrics of the world and like the regular electronics companies, like those kinds of groups.
Then,
I said it. It's okay.
yeah, there you go. Their ilk, right? But yes, we're talking about the same thing.
I mean, Samsung does it. GE does it. Panasonic now does it. I've seen all the main shit I used to see at Sears. They're all trying to have some cannabis department, right?
They're all raising their hand. Ben and Brett were doing it when it wasn't so cool, right?
Yeah.
And
But
they
it was
did it.
dangerous when they were trying to get you guys to admit to helping other people and name names and things like that.
There you go. So that means a lot to me and to a lot of people. So teaming up with these guys, I think, is a moment for the industry. We both believe in high quality cannabis at a very low price point. I think market realities are you have to do it better and cheaper. Doesn't mean you need to compromise on quality, but you need to learn how to be efficient and how to work with the right people and work with people, right? Being collegial, I think, is a really important aspect rather than being so focused on being a competitor. I think about that just industry wide. I don't have any competitors. Everyone in the sector is a colleague of mine. We're trying to help and support each other. The real challenge is the misperception of cannabis having been demonized, right, for the last 40, 50 years. So with that mentality, the alignment with Fohse is a dream. And I think they bring that extra layer of enterprise value and connectivity to culture, fam, in addition to the tech and the innovation.
Because it's a balance, right? That enterprise value umbrella is a variety of things, and so what you're saying is they fill in quite a bit of value within that umbrella, and
yes,
they are the experts across a variety of areas in the cannabis space as well, with a strong network of resources in case there's things that maybe that is stumping the guy that's making the visit or whatever it is. I think that's what's pretty cool about my understanding about you guys, Ben. Ben and the Fohse team, is you guys are very hands-on. There's a lot of research. There's a lot of growers working with you guys that have seen things, and some of them still have their own stuff going, right? Yep. To some degree, is my understanding. I've met a couple of them in the before.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's where you see kind of a lot of our technology, the evolution of Fohse, if you will. We just launched the Pro line, which is kind of unlocking, I mean, for lack of a better term, Pandora's box on controls and features and functionalities of a horticultural lighting system. It's a true 7-channel control system, everything from UV, blue, green, soft white, warm white, red, infrared. And the math on it's millions of potential spectrum opportunities and recipes that you can put over a variety of crops, cannabis being obviously the one that a piece of technology like that is built for, just because the higher price point and all the features. But when you're talking about a crop that's going to be $700 a pound or $3,700 a pound, based on how well you grow it, finish it, there's guys out there that are going to make that, that investment of the lighting, it's going to pay for itself the first turn or the second turn. And, any CFO in the world says that a piece of equipment is going to pay itself off before year one. That's usually a good investment. So again, it's building stuff for the growers that we're talking to. They asked us for the controls. We never really were, we weren't really huge on putting UV in, but we had so many requests that we do it. We had requests for sunrise, sunset mode, how to implement sensors into our technology. And then we worked with, I think we've got like 3,000 or 4,000 clients in 24 different countries. So
holy cow!
That's just the commercial side. And we've been around for 10 years now. So that's what everyone kind of forgets. And we came from cannabis cultivation. Brett Stevens and I had our first grow out here in Las Vegas 10 years ago. And that's when we're using HPSs, getting our asses kicked, trying to grow in the desert with 500-degree light bulbs, right? And didn't work out. Burnt down a table. We blew out like 3 HVACs, lost.
Holy cow!
Yeah, we ended up bringing
Let's talk more about this. This is what I want to know about.
Yeah, so then we actually brought in a buddy of mine from high school, rocket engineer, working on micro LED technology and pacemakers, defibrillators, Boston Scientific guy, real smart. But he'd also been working on designing high-powered LED lights. So we brought him in to design a weed light, for our cannabis grow in Vegas. And it was only going to be for us. It was our secret weapon. And we built a bunch by hand in a motocross shop we owned at the same time we were growing weed in the desert. And Brett and I put the lights up in our grow, and the plants literally, it was like a 30-40% increase in yield. They were changing colors. And then we gave the lights to a couple other growers because, like many other states, the legal cannabis market's very tight-knit group of people. So we started handing out our handmade sample lights, and they started crushing all over Las Vegas. Then we started getting light orders and light orders. Yeah, and that's how we actually pivoted into Fohse, was just we had so many requests for the lights from cannabis growers because we kept getting sold, strawberry lights and tomato lights and just this kind of basic one-size-fits-all light. But that's not true when it comes to any crop. 10 years later, Fohse is now getting into other crops, and our strawberry light looks nothing like our cannabis light, spectrum wise or features, functionality, form wise. So our bread and butter, though, is obviously still cannabis, always has been. Our entire team's hyper passionate about the industry, obviously us coming from growers, and again, listening to our growers. We work with as many as we can. We try to collect as much data as we can. And we've been, there's times where we're like, no, the science says it should be this. And then, we get 3 or 4 growers that are like, plants are doing this. So we go by what the plants do. And then if we just implement it across a couple more pieces of technology or models, and we start seeing that whatever that, photomorphogenic response, positive or negative, is happening. If it's negative, we're going to, get it out of the technology. And if it's a positive, experience we're having with the grower's recommendation, we're going to adopt it across all of it. So
what's really interesting about you guys is this ability to take the data, analyze it, and then apply it, make these changes, make these fine tunes to your own situation, to your own technology and hardware, and then be able to get it back out into the market and communicate and get more feedback. I think that's something that when you're actually connected, quote unquote, to the culture, you're able to get things out there. And when you are working with a variety of quality, top level, top shelf premium brands, it's like when you're really fine tuning it, like we're looking for small changes. And in some cases, it could be yield that maybe is a big outlier. Maybe it's terps, maybe it's color you mentioned as a potential change. But these are all variables that we want to measure that help us identify what quality cannabis is at the end of the day. Maybe it's
maybe 100%.
Right.
I mean, and some of them are even down to like, what lights do the growers like working under? That's one of the questions we like. What do you like? I don't like getting blasted on the ice. All right, let's put a work mode in there that whenever someone's doing like plant canopy management, it's going to turn all the lights down. The under canopies are going to turn down with it, and it's going to turn the far red down even further, so they're not getting hit with spectrum. So there's just little things that you can do and add that isn't more than a couple months of writing some software into it, and now you have something that makes the growers happier to be in the rooms, putting more attention to the plants, which again is the main goal. And again, kind of you're just hitting on the point you said, we're able to move really fast. Is we're, like I said, we're the last, at least the oldest, I think, privately owned LED company that hasn't sold out or, specifically only takes care of cannabis. And with that, we're a 20, 30 man team and, guy and girl team. And we can make those changes quick. We don't have a lot of that red tape those big guys do, like Phillips and Gavita. And we're able to make those changes, talk to the growers, get the feedback, and then just put it right in that technology. And then 3 weeks later, I'll have that light ready to rock. So let's see what it does. And we're not value engineering here. I'm not trying to cheapen up my stuff. If it does anything to reduce quality or yields, I'm not going to do it. I won't do it. Plants come first, and everything else we can talk about later, right?
So I've got a question about the facility, kind of pivoting back towards. I read something in the press release about Black Label. So it sounds like you guys are going to be growing product for your own house of brands and selling it under your own things. And so immediately my question though is, okay, so if I've got Kobe here and Shack over here, the Shack of buildings, your building is as big as Shack is what I'm saying. And then we got Kobe over here, which is the lights and the plans and the tech and all that, right? Like you can go for 80 if the right other pieces, right? So I'm thinking, what are the flavors going to be? What's the genetics going to be? Who are they going to be working with? Because if we've got super powers on both sides, well, you got to have more quality to build out the team. And so in terms of what's to come, if we could talk a little bit about that. If we're not able to, that's okay. I got more questions lined up. But what's going to be in the building? Are we running candies? Are we running gases? Are we doing legacy strains? What are we thinking? Because it's Fohse. Like, well, I have a little bit of an expectation just based on who you guys work with. You know what I mean?
Well said. Well, I think part of the phase 2 approach is that'll be the first time that we get to work, Joey, on a building from the ground up together. We built phase 1 my partners and I, some time ago. Uh, Ben and the team swooped in now, posted getting operational, and they're part of this like really exciting optimization wave where we're just going to like upgrade everything, and we're really proud of the quality quotient that we hit out the gate, just building our system, the evap cooling tech. We're in a desert, fam. Ben was talking about experience of using HPS lights and such in that environment. In the summer it gets up to 120 here, daddy, right? It gets hot.
Let's go.
There's no AC in the main corridor or in any of the flower rooms, fam. I'm going to repeat that. There's no air conditioning in
Wow.
any of our. So when I was on the stump 3, 4, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, raising money for this, the building, it cost 40 M's to build the building. It took another 22, 23 on top of that to get it off the ground. This is at a time when the cannabis capital, whatever was available back in 17, 18, was dried up, gone.
Yeah.
Only capital that remained was predatory, right? The loan to own vibe. I'm a 7-figure investor personally. My co-founder's an 8-figure investor. We don't have a dollar of predatory capital. Everyone who invested in us believed in us finding a way to do something with cooling tech in a structure like this that has a roof, but it's indoor. It's completely sealed. There is the supplemental lighting, but boy, oh boy, the number one input is the sun, right? And now you bring on Kobe, and you bring that. Ooh, it's like, so that's our vision for Black Label. That's our vision for phase 2 and beyond. It's the opportunity to be able to talk to Ben and his team from the beginning of the venture. We also own all of our real estate, and we build the buildings. There's nothing that we do here that is reliant on any third party. The genetics we have, they're mine, that I've been carrying for a long time. They run the gamut. We got the candy, we got the gas. I love the legacy stuff. I prefer the legacy stuff. The candy thing kind of makes me a little bit sad. It's such an over obsession with it. It's kind of a race to the bottom now. There is something to be said about flavors and the new vibe. That's awesome. Let's always embrace that and be open to it. But we're so quick to forget what got us here, man.
Yeah.
We're so quick to forget. So I feel like what we're stewarding now is a new era, man, of like really just welcoming the culture into like what we do best. Respectively, we build buildings, we grow high quality medicine, we work with awesome people. Ben and his team bring all the firepower that they do, and I think it's a moment to like almost demonstrate, be a very humble approach to like a case study and how to make a partnership like 1 + 1 = 3, and welcome people to be part of that ride. I give out my cuts to other growers, fam. I'm happy to. I want them to grow fireweed. I want them to be successful too, right? Because when we all succeed like that and we create that, it's what makes cannabis, at least for me. What other industry has so many rad people, bro, that have been doing something for a long time because we all actually love it. We all actually love this plant, right? So with that as the driving force, everything else takes care of itself, fam. The plant, to Ben's point, comes first. And for us, there'll be no shortage of, variety, in terms of cultivars and such. And there'll be even more, sort of availability there for people to come and be part of that equation. And for us to kind of find new ways to do things better and bigger and together, right? So that's kind of the vibe, G.
So there's this another interesting phrase you guys have in the press release, which could be you guys or it could be creative writing, but indoor quality at greenhouse cost. Is that achievable through technology or through just sheer scale of the building, or is there one area with more?
Both. So, and here comes the balloons. I don't know why, but here they go.
You gave up the peace sign.
Bam. There we go. Balloons for everybody. You know what it is here. They keep coming. Jay, you know what it is? It's like it's both, right? Because if I had HVAC and AC and the whole Wu-Tang in here, right, in terms of that part of things, my cogs aren't going to be what they are, fam.
Yeah, the weed is going to be drastically more expensive if you're using AC all the time to keep the whole building and everything locked down.
Come on, man. So we had to find another way. So that took, by the way, 8 or 9 years to figure out.
It's
Like,
crazy. Yeah.
right.
So
So yeah,
my grasp on that is, so you've got a building and a roof, and it's got open space through the roof for sunlight to go into the grow. But then you've got an indoor facility within this bigger building, an indoor grow room. And okay, how can you help me
yeah.
get a visual
Well,
on that?
look, if someone pulled up now, they'd be like, "Oh, it looks a lot like a greenhouse," and it is, right? There's like the customary, right, glass exposure, and but it's completely sealed. And when you come in, it's like, man, wait a minute, like, it's kind of cool. It's really hot outside. If you come in the summer, right? Other parts of the year, it's quite temperate
Yeah,
there.
it's really beautiful there most of the time of the year as
Yeah.
well.
So that's another thing that people forget. They're like, "Oh, it's so hot out there 3 or 4 months of the year," right?
Yeah, which is normal for places to be super hot 3 or 4 months a year, folks. That's not that crazy, by the way.
It's not
Yeah,
that
no,
crazy.
people get like crazy. It's 115 there. You're like, yeah, we live in the desert.
Dude, it's like,
It's always that.
yeah,
It's 105 in Indiana and Spokane, so it's like, it's both fucking places it gets hot in the summer. So everyone just lives in a box, anyways.
Yeah.
everybody lives in a box. No, man, but for us, fam, it's like, it looks a lot like a greenhouse. It is a greenhouse, but we approach so many other elements of the operation from the perspective of quote unquote traditional indoor.
Okay.
And we embrace it all, man. There's the sun, there's the super rad, supplemental lighting with, right. So it's like, how do we harness the best of all of it and get it to a point where we can be really competitive operators, but really putting out a product that's different. We always wanted to play on the higher end of the shelf, and thankfully earlier than maybe people thought, we were able to crack the code on that. And now it's about, how do we scale that up, right? How do I use more photons and more lights to increase production, and anything else that we can do between airflow, inputs, newts, right? The whole thing.
Yeah.
How do we get it to that optimal peak where I can be a great, quote unquote CEO, and look at my stakeholders and said, "Hey, everybody that invested a bunch of money in us," right? When I just had a pitch deck and a pile of dirt. Quite literally, that's how our project started, fam. I had a deck and I had a piece of dirt. And if I had a nickel for every time somebody told me no, I could have built two of these things, right? They didn't make it easy, fam.
Yeah.
They
No,
didn't.
it definitely, that particular area has a lot going against it. There's also been a number
Yeah.
of large operators out there that have already failed and gone under, specifically after raising a bunch of money or self capital, doing self capital and self funding themselves, or a combination of the both. And RIP to those brands. I can think of two big ones out there. Grow Packer's gone, which was the homies, and then who was the man? This
Oh,
was,
brother,
I
how,
could be
how
wrong.
much time do you have?
I guess it was odd. No, maybe I'm thinking Adelanto out there. What was the big orange brand that was cool at the
Fam,
beginning?
Candescent,
Candescent. R.I.P. to Candescent too.
fam, Saniva now, which got repurposed years later, but during the Canadian RTO era, million square feet of Cathedral City. See, the challenge with that, and this goes to your COGS question, and I also own an indoor grow, a boutique indoor grow, 18,000 square feet in Cathedral City. I'm on Edison there, right? So just talk about power. What do you need to get the building going? You need lights, you need power, you need sewer, fam. When you're hooked up to Edison in this part of the state, you're paying what you're paying. The kilowatt per hour charge is crazy, man. It's expensive. In Coachella, we're hooked up in terms of power to IID, the Imperial Irrigation District. It's a water company that also has a power component. So I pay a much lower ticket per kilowatt. So that was all a function of us, like, literally mapping out. There wasn't a municipality in California that was open to having this kind of, obviously 2/3 of municipalities opted out of having cannabis operations, right? We went to the municipalities that said yes, the third. Coachella was the winner. Lower taxes, great local city government. They want us here. All these earlier failed grows in the desert, at least they wanted us here. Desert Hot Springs, Palm Springs, Cathedral City, at least they welcomed us here.
Yeah.
Coachella just happened to be the most compelling value proposition. It's an agricultural community. There's such an awesome workforce here. I have the happiest workforce in cannabis. There's nobody who has happier people in all of weed than me, right here, because these folks
There's
are.
some other groups out there right now that are not. They don't have such a heavy workforce, from what I'm hearing.
Brother, I hear the same things, and we have people every day that leave resumes and stuff at our gate. That's my
powerful.
faith. That's what I'm most proud of today. We have we build that culture. People like to be here. They want to be here, right? So I think it's a combination of all of it, man. Tech.
Yeah.
How do you do it for less than your competitor and being authentic to yourself and to the culture?
There's and one of my next questions for, and this one would be for you, Ben, is all about communication. How do you guys, with the cultivation and these like tech engineers and these, all the different staff that go into growing things and doing the technology side of it, right, the lighting side of it, like how many people are involved with that kind of stuff, I guess, to give some light and paint that picture? And then what is the communication like within the team and the technology, and also too, I guess, here with the Green Horizons group? Like what how does that work with y'all?
Yeah, yeah. Great question. And again, usually when we start with any relationship, whether it be Green Horizons, a partnership, new, old, what have you, it's going to start obviously with us jumping on the phone, figuring out their needs, goals, what they're currently dealing with issue wise, what they're currently using. And then we just kind of build it backwards. Usually starts with just a quick phone call. If they have floor plans, we can kind of start doing some, photometric mapping of the facility. We can look at what they're currently at and then say, what do we need to be at? And then we can start recommending models based on what they're growing genetic wise. Or if they're like, hey man, we absolutely need spectrum changing, spectrum tuning. We've got, 50 different genetics and we want to start playing around. It's like, awesome. So now we know like kind of what direction we're going to go in. And then it's site visits. We're going to absolutely get on site before we ship you lights. We're going to come out with an engineer and then most likely a individual from our horticultural staff.
Nice.
And we're going to go through and talk to your electricians, any contractors you may have that may have questions about install, power, communication to the lights, to their Grow Link or Trollmaster, whatever they're rocking.
Yeah. That's the brain of the thing, right? That's the computer that talks and connects everything and shows us all the
it gives us all the data points and lets them kind of communicate and talk to the lights, dim
dew
them.
points and water levels and all the different things.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. And then the grow guys will sit with their team and say, hey, what are you guys currently doing? What do the watering schedules look like? What nutrients are you using? We'll go through and check their light levels, and we'll look at just everything from their microclimates, temperature, humidity, CO2, give them some suggestions on what they're currently running if there needs to be any. But then we just come up with a plan, plan on when the lights get there, installation, week 1, week 2, and then we actually just do, usually weekly phone calls. Los and I end up chatting about every day anyway, so it's pretty easy. But
Joey, I can't keep help. I have to call Ben every day, bro. I have to. It's something that I need to do. Whether he wants to hear from me, no, I'm calling him. Dude, we just talked about the lights. How are you doing, Ben? I want to know what's going on with you. These guys are not engaging, fam. They become your friends and your family more so than just giving you the bomb ass advice. You understand what I'm saying? It's different, bro.
That's exciting, man. I'm happy about that culture that's being created with y'all in that regard as well. I know that it could be a lot with thousands of customers and whatever, but the reality is that this partnership is a big deal. It's a big deal for cannabis. This is a very, very large, potential future, an opportunity. There's a lot of great cannabis to be grown, and it's a collaboration between some pretty exciting groups. With both of y'all coming together and uniting. I wanted to take a moment here to shout out our sponsor for the episode. Big shout out to Damian Solomon, King Solomon Nutrients, our sponsor for today's show. Damian has been great at helping me prepare, not necessarily for this episode particularly, but my entire career in cannabis. The last, anything in the cultivation or nutrition side has come from having conversations with him that I have been able to apply in the field on my tours. So that way I can learn more. And so we appreciate you, Damien, and we appreciate you guys here today for joining us on the episode. Los Arias, Green Horizons, Ben Arnet. We've got Fohse in the building. Before we get you guys both out of here, I want to make sure we give you guys the floor, both of you guys, to just share, promote, talk about something that's important to you. Ben, we just had you go on for a second, so Los, I'll give you the floor first.
Oh, that's very kind of you. What I want to say is just thank you. Thank you for being emblematic, fam, of what I think the industry needs going forward. People that are very passionate about the medicine, passionate about telling the right stories, featuring the right partnerships. And, it's just a real big moment, I think, for myself personally, to be here with you both. I have so much love and respect for what you guys contribute. And it's just an honor to be part of that company. So just a big thank you. Anybody that would ever love to learn more about Green Horizons, if you're ever in Coachella and want to roll through, my email is LOS at greenhorizons.io. Literally hit me up. If you want to come through, it'd be an honor to have you. And just thanks so much to share some time here with you.
I might have to pull up and take you on that. I think 1,000,000 will be the biggest. I just was on the phone with somebody in New Jersey today, Los, and I was like, man, I was bragging about how the homie Dave over at Clade 9, how they got 140K over in New Jersey, and it's like an old tank factory. Worked on Mack trucks back in the day, like all the cool history, right?
Yeah.
And but it's not built out yet. I think they've only got 40, maybe 60,000 built out, and here you guys are with 1,000,000.
Well, 1,000,000 coming. I got 100 today, man. 100.
But it's still 100 today and 1,000,000 coming. Like just to be there and share something. Like you need a drone to be able to see all that at once. You know what I mean? It's incredible. And so I appreciate your time there, Ben. What do you got for the people here today? What are we promoting? What are we talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thanks for having us on. Absolute pleasure. It's always a great time getting on with Los. Time flies by when we're chatting, dude. And can't wait to get back out to the greenhouse and, get things rocking. I know we got some fresh gear showing up, so we'll be back out there with the whole team, the engineers, the horde services, the media team blowing it up. So that'll be fun. And we just launched the Pro line. That's the tunable spectrum that, literally unlocking Pandora's box. If anyone has questions, reach out. There are a ton of phenomenal rebates all over the country right now. We're seeing people get lights paid anywhere between 30% of their total light purchase up to 100% of their total light purchase.
Wow.
And we're doing some other stuff with some other great consulting groups where we're actually able to find equipment and construction loans from the government, and they're not withholding them from cannabis operators. So just some other stuff to help growers out. Obviously, we know that CapEx is huge when you're trying to get a grow off the ground. And if you can have, reasonable interest rates and, capital to get you through that first harvest or two, we know that's all it takes. So any questions at all, always reach out. Los and I are always here to help, anyone in the industry. And my email is ben@fohse.com or help@fohse.com. Just reach out, and we're always excited to talk to new growers, new and old.
Come on, everybody. Another episode of Grow and Tell podcast here today on the Respect My Region podcast episode, brought to you guys by King Solomon Nutrients. Our guest today, Green Horizon and Fohse in the building. Los, Ben, I appreciate your guys' time and efforts and everything that you guys do for the cannabis. And we're back with the balloons.
I'm like, I want some balloons. Damn. They love you, Los.
I love it.
All right, guys.
I appreciate y'all. We'll catch you guys next